Hey guys, welcome to our weekly G Blue and Blue Protocol AMA. Hope you guys are all having a great week. Got some exciting stuff to share with you guys today. Although I am going to be keeping today's AMA a little bit short. I've been working on something major for you guys. It's probably why you haven't seen me around the community as quite as much as you usually do. Been spending a lot of time setting up my AI agents. I've got a couple different OpenClaws running, and two of them are building for me pretty much 24/7. So um, yeah, my ability to build and ship is I might not have shipped anything in the last week or two, but nothing major anyways. But my ability to ship is I'd say at least 2x faster than it was before. And you saw how fast we were pushing stuff out before. So very exciting stuff. Yeah, my AI agent army is basically good to go, and I'm working on something major that I'm going to be able to show you guys next week. So definitely next week's AMA is one that you're not going to want to miss. I do have a couple updates for you guys in the meantime, though. Um, so some of you might have seen we put out an announcement. GBlue is now verified in the abstract portal. So tokens verified in the portal. We've already got our DApp in the portal. My streaming account's been verified, and actually, just some recent developments as of yesterday, we are applying to get GBlue earning XP for AGW users. So there's a bit of a process there. We've got to fill out a form, and we've got to, just basically fill out the form and then figure out the details. But yeah, Nick put in the initiative with that. He's talking with the abstract team, and yeah, essentially at this point, we just need to fill out a form, and we can get that going. So there's going to be a whole another reason for people to either hold GBlue or get into the GBlue LPs or the GBlue vaults or Morpho, or maybe we'll even tie in bonding. But yeah, it's I know a lot of guys on abstract are really focused on earning that XP. So the fact that people will be able to earn good XP just by participating in GBlue is definitely a major step towards further integrating with abstract. And also, Nick, I got to give it to him. He's really pushing things forward here while I'm deep in my agent coding. But he also mentioned a badge to abstract, and that's something that it's going to take a little bit of time. Like I think we'll be doing the XP thing a little bit first, but I think what they mentioned is there's a bit of a backlog for badges. So I guess they got a couple badges that they've got to get out, and then we could potentially be next after that. So I mean, that would be the most bullish thing ever. I mean, I don't know if you guys have been following. I'm sure obviously the guys that are abstract native guys are obviously well aware of this, but for my existing community that might not be aware, a lot of AGW users, they really want to get as much XP as possible, get as many badges as possible. So I saw for the Aborian badge, when there was a badge for providing liquidity, I think like the ABX token holder count went up like over 10,000 in those couple days. You can basically expect, I don't know. I mean, I haven't followed every single badge release like super closely, but from the ones that I paid attention to, you can expect easily 10,000 plus users to want to participate to get the badge. So, I mean, considering we're at like 300 or 400 holders right now, an influx of 10,000 users, even if they're just doing something mainly just to get the badge and maybe they're going to exit after, I think just all that extra activity and awareness on GBlue, and I'm sure some of those users would, once they see what our protocol is all about, they'll definitely stick around and want to participate. So let's catch some comments. We got LFG in the main stream. Yes, sir. Let's go. We got Wolf1 on abstract portal. He says, GBlue badge will be epic for Blue Protocol. Yeah, I mean, it's I'm not sure how much justice I'm giving it in how I'm explaining it, but yeah, like put it this way, like Aborian's website was having like some load issues when this badge came out. Like that's how much traffic they gained when the Aborian badge came out. So yeah, like I'll literally have to beef up our infrastructure when we get a badge just to make sure that our website doesn't have any issues. So let's go, blue team. Let's go. Yeah, so super pumped to get the XP kicking. So we'll be able to give our users XP. So again, anyone that's in our existing community that hasn't yet set up an abstract global wallet, I highly recommend setting one of those up. You'll be able to earn XP and potentially qualify for future and rewards or airdrops potentially from the abstract team in the future based on your XP. So something that you probably want to build up if you can. So yeah, I mean, I expect that to be all set up and good to go probably for next week at the latest. I'm just waiting for them to give me access to the form I need to fill out, and then we'll get that all set up and good to go. But yeah, I mean, just with the G Blue token being verified on the portal, and for earning XP, like the goal of this is really to increase engagement, bring new users in. So all these guys on Abstract that have been on Abstract for a while, maybe they're a bit hesitant to jump into new projects, but as soon as there's a badge or there's the ability to earn XP, that's when that piques their interest more, and they're more willing to give it a try, even if it's just temporarily to get the badge. But it's just the awareness that that'll bring to us is, it's huge, like massive, massive. Um, so yeah, I've been, just while I've been getting my AI agent army set up, I've been, kind of just building different random things that, just thinking of how we can benefit G Blue. And, I know that the broader markets are not looking the best right now. Like, let's pop open our abstract perp decks. It's markets aren't in the greatest shape right now, but I think what we can do differently is we can show up regardless of what the market's doing. And we can when G Blue was just pushing all-time highs just a couple weeks ago, the markets weren't looking incredibly great at that time either, right? Like, it's our project can stand apart, and no matter how bad sentiment is, no matter how rough the broader markets are looking, if we put in the work, if we keep shipping and we keep putting out new, this new stuff that's beneficial that people want to try and people, want to earn with, that's something that we can make G Blue and the Blue protocol work in any market conditions. It's obviously a little bit tougher when markets, and when sentiment is as low as it is right now, but that's not going to stop us. And I think that's what separates the really strong teams from the weaker teams is, who can show up, all the time, even in, poor market conditions. So, and again, I've been really busy getting these AI agents all set up. So, it might not look like I'm doing too much right now, but I've been doing a ton behind the scenes, and we're going to start seeing all of the benefits of this in the immediate future. Just again, because now I have, I got a couple different OpenClaws set up where I can just basically give it a task and or tell it what I want to build. It's gonna make me a whole bunch of tasks and our mission control, and it's it tackles them one after the other with like full testing, and it's like literally putting out like production quality apps or whatever I tell it to build with minimal oversight. So we'll be able to start pushing things out like you guys wouldn't believe. And I mean, the other major thing too is that AI is all the hype right now. The OpenClaw release kind of like reinvigorated all that excitement about AI, and there's a lot of really cool things that you can do with OpenClaw. And I've also got some other ideas related to like how I could allow like our community to like set up their own OpenClaw on like a shared, not shared, like an isolated, but like on a single, basically with a lightweight virtual machine. There's a lot of different things that I'm playing around with while I'm working on the major stuff, but yeah, it's a lot of really exciting things going on despite what the market's looking like. But I mean, yeah, I mean, let me know what you guys think in terms of like, if you like, I don't know if that's something that interests you guys, if like our community wants to be able to like, set up OpenClaw, for example, and maybe like just if you have a certain amount of G Blue, or if you have a certain amount of, points within our G Blue bot on Telegram, maybe, over 1,000 points, like whale status would qualify to be able to, just set up your own OpenClaw that you can use as your personal assistant. And that would run on, our servers at no cost to the user. That's something that would be pretty fun to set up. And I think, people might really enjoy that. And it gives, more reason to hold G Blue and to maintain a higher tier status with the bot. So a lot of different small things like that I'm working on at the same time. But yeah, like I was just saying, with all the hype around AI right now in OpenClaw, it'd be crazy for us to not capitalize on that. Just recently, ERC 8004, I believe it is, the Agent Registry that was just deployed onto Abstract. Abstract's got a couple agents running on chain, and I think that we can really stir things up with a more capable agent right on Abstract. So don't want to give away too much about what's coming, but it's going to be big. I'd start positioning yourselves, and definitely you don't want to miss next week's AMA. And also, I've mentioned a couple times building a game. Games are a lot easier to build now than they used to be, especially with the setup that I got now with all the automation. I've got a couple. I got one really strong idea for a game. I don't want to um, give up too much about it right now. I've just started building it, but I've got a couple other ideas as well. But one idea that I'm building right now would be, a G Blue based game where, mobile first, short session, something that's easy to get into, but like fun and addictive, not addictive, but like something that you want to keep playing and something that's multiplayer that you can play with other players in the community. And yeah, I do want to get that a little bit more developed and be able to show you guys like an actual demo before I get too into exactly what it does. But yeah, I mean, I think that now is a time that we can start, shipping stuff easily once per week, or maybe more than that, and pushing out games and pushing out agents and maybe services for our community. So I've, I don't want to come off like I've just got a million ideas and nothing's going to finish. Like I do have a couple. I do have like one really strong thing I'm building right now that I'm going to show you guys next week. But yeah, I just because it's so easy to build things now, whenever I get an idea, I just tell an agent to start building it. So I do have a couple projects on the go that, and some of them are quite good that I think, we could really use to bring G Blue to the next level. So and that's what I've got going on. And that's pretty much the updates I got for this week. Anybody have any questions or comments? I'd love to get feedback about the AI stuff. If you guys have ideas of, what kind of cool capabilities an abstract based agent could do, or how we could utilize an agent within Telegram or on X, or basically like you know creating agents is something that I've gotten super familiar with. So it's something where I think that um, with the right use case and the right utility, the right features, I think that, I know I have the capability to produce something that could really stand out. So, yeah, I mean, if you guys have any AI related ideas, we can figure out how to tie it in with G Blue, and yeah, it's going to be super beneficial. But yeah, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Main thing is that yeah, I got a super strong pipeline set up to be able to build at record pace. I know I was building quick before, but now I can probably build at least two times as fast. And I got a couple really strong builds in the works that I'm going to be showing you guys next week on the AMA. So if there's no other questions or comments, I guess we will cut the AMA short here. I'll give it some time to see if anything else rolls in. But yeah, I guess, while we wait for that, I'll just, mention that, obviously the markets haven't been looking great, but this is really the time when, the time to accumulate is when there's blood in the streets, and I know that everybody always says that, I know, but it really is true. How much lower can ETH go? I mean, yeah, it could go lower. Yeah. But I mean, I think, ultimately if you're buying for the long term, I think, it's a great time to accumulate strong projects such as G Blue, or just, major crypto such as Ethereum, and, farming G Blue Ethereum and earning ABX it's really a solid strategy. I know our APR is not quite what it was before. That's, partly due to getting a few less votes, but also due to the ABX price at the moment. But again, ABX has some catalysts coming up, and I'm sure the price won't stay down here for too much longer. And, our APR will be much, much higher soon. Looking forward to next week. You and me both. Safe and secure cloud bots for personal use would be good. Yeah, see, that's see, you brought up a good point there. Safe and secure cloud bots. So I guess that's like the main challenge with having a like an OpenClaw or like Claude bot solution that the community can use, is that um, just by nature it's so powerful because of how open it is. So it's there's things that we can build that can make managing it and locking it down and securing it a lot easier. But at the end of the day, for it to be like as powerful as it can be, it kind of needs to like be able to do whatever you tell it to do. So, it's definitely going to be something that it's going to be, kind of use at your own risk. Like we can give all kinds of guidelines about like, you know, what you should and what you shouldn't do. And we could have like our orchestration layer can kind of like ensure that you don't set things up in a way that like is really insecure. Um, but yeah, I'm actually playing around with that right now because I mean I could talk about this for hours, but it's not really related to G Blue directly, so I'm not sure if I should. But um, yeah, like right now I'm playing around with the orchestration layer basically, right? So to be able to take like a bare metal server and be able to provision like a couple hundred isolated, you know, basically lightweight virtual machines where, each one of these would run your OpenClaw. But I'm thinking of taking it like one step above your traditional VM where you could actually have like you could remote desktop in and actually have like a graphical user interface. I know like for the hardcore guys, like I mean, like I never remote connect to a server and use a graphical interface. I always use the terminal. But for the average user, it's probably going to make things a little bit easier for them if they can do some things on the virtual machine using a graphical interface. And in addition to that, like there's some other advantages with OpenClaw because it has like a browser tool where it can, open up the browser and it can interact with the browser, or you can tell it to build something and then say, hey, when you're done building it, open your browser tool and check it out, test it, make sure everything works out supposed to work. So if you're connected to the remote desktop, you can actually watch it do all these things. Or you can like, if it tested something and you want to test something else, you just use your mouse and, click on the website and test whatever you want to test. So I think there are some, it's definitely OpenClaw is definitely usable without a graphical interface, but I think there's, especially for newer users, I think there's a lot of advantages to having that. So I think, so yeah, again, having a lightweight virtual machine where we can provision a couple hundred onto a single host and have, you know, graphical interfaces and full VMs and security by default, I guess you could say. And, and also just to give you guys like ways to configure it that are ideal, right? Just kind of just to take some of the learning curve and just to make it simpler and just make it useful a lot quicker, I guess. I got a lot of other ideas about that, but don't want to get too off topic. Thanks for your dedication. You bet. That's my fear. Yeah, the security is, there's a couple like basic principles that if you follow, you should be fairly okay. Like, but I could talk about that for an hour. So should probably have a dedicated stream about OpenClaw. We're going to talk about that for a while. Scale down the power and make it useful. Yeah. Keep building, keep cooking, Aaron. You know it, man. That's what I'm always going to be doing. We got, just to reiterate, we've got an amazing project on our hands here. G Blue, it's battle tested. We got a large treasury backing up our tokens. We have an amazing earning opportunity on Arborium. We've got the auto compounding vaults. We've got cross chain deposits to the auto compounding vaults. We've got borrowing against the auto compounding vault. And again, I know what the market conditions right now, and I know what the current ABX price. I know the APR is not quite what it was before, but the way that to really look at this is a great time to just accumulate ABX. Our APR is still very competitive compared to other stuff that's out there. This is a V2 LP. This is not concentrated liquidity. So to be over 100% APR on a V2 style LP that's full range is, it's really incredible, especially with two strong assets such as ETH and G Blue inside. So, I still think this is, I've said this many times in the past, but I think this is one of the best risk reward investments that's out there. And, I'm going to keep doing everything that I have to do to make sure that, that comes true, that, it's with such a great offering, there's only a matter of time until, the price reflects it. And we were experiencing that before, we had the market, draw down and everything, but yeah, no, I'm really excited about our future. You know, it's one of those things where if you look at the chart, it's doesn't look the greatest, but again, this is the time to accumulate, time to, pick up more at these prices. And yeah, that's pretty much the best advice I got for you guys. And yeah, definitely next week's AMA is going to be huge. So definitely don't miss that one. We'll be streaming it like usual on Abstract Portal as well as X and YouTube. So I'll give it a couple more seconds to see if any more comments are coming in. And then I'm going to get back to building. Thanks, Aaron. Keep cooking. Oh, the setup that I got now, man, I'm cooking at record speed. All right, guys. Looks like that's all for the comments. So thanks everyone for joining. I know it's it can be tough to join into these things when the market sentiment's as low as it is, but I appreciate the guys that showed up, and I'm going to make these AMAs as valuable as I can, especially next week I got a huge release for you guys to show you. So yeah, look forward to seeing you guys next week, and enjoy the rest of your day. See you guys around.